Andretti entry may be a challenge for F1, the Liberty Media CEO's opinions on Max's dominance, and the drivers think there's a problem with the current cars. Let's get into the latest in the F1 world. According to recent reports, the FIA is soon expected to give their approval to Andretti Global's bid to join F1 as soon as 2025. Andretti has been interested in joining F1 since last year, as the sport's rise in popularity has resulted in more discussions around whether there could be 11 or 12 teams on the grid in the near future. The FIA, who govern Formula 1, invited potential teams to express their interest and applied to join the sport, with teams like Hi-Tech and of course Andretti Cadillac expressing this interest publicly. But this news was met with significant backlash, not only from the teams already on the grid, but also from F1 itself. The general feeling among the existing teams was that adding an 11th or 12th team would cost them vital prize money, but others expressed concern at the way the announcement of the bid had been so public, and many wondered what Andretti would actually bring to the sport. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has been skeptical of adding new teams for a while, stating previously that any new teams would need to add value to the championship and that he wouldn't change his mind on this regardless of money. But the FIA's president Mohammed Ben Sulayem has a vastly different view and may be about to action the plan even without F1's permission. Speaking to motorsporttotal.com, Ben Sulayem has said that they have a contract and their contract says they have up to 12 teams, so adding any new entrants to the sport would not break the rules but actually fulfill them. The FIA can give a new team permission to technically enter the sport, but even if Andretti get approved by the FIA, they then must be approved by Formula 1 itself, and to do so, the team will have to show that they can bring commercial benefit to the sport. This will also involve paying an anti-dilution fee, which currently is set out to be $200 million in the Concord Agreement to ensure the commercial revenue other teams benefit from currently isn't diluted. For Formula 1 to turn down a new team, they must have very good grounds on which to do so, which they are unlikely to have following the FIA's strict application process where finance, team plans and understanding of the regulations is checked. Further to this, EU law may go against F1 as it states that the participation of a team cannot be prevented unless there are legitimate concerns. Given the well-known names of both Andretti and General Motors, it's unlikely that there will be such concerns. The FIA were expected to make a decision shortly after the summer break, but we have still not heard the outcome of its evaluations to the applicants. Andretti are in a time crunch to get this approval before the next Concord Agreement is completed, as in this, the current teams could decide to increase the anti-dilution fee to $600 million, a figure that would deter any applicant. There's many different processes at play, and it's far from straightforward, but we could see Andretti on the grid before long. The CEO of Liberty Media, who own F1, has spoken out on how Max Verstappen's dominance is affecting the sport and its business. Liberty Media and F1's goal is to at least sustain audience growth and interest, but also increase it where possible. But there have been fears that this period of dominance by Red Bull and Max Verstappen may have resulted in fans feeling bored or disinterested in the sport. Liberty Media's CEO Greg Maffei said that F1's approach to this is to focus on how Max is making history and how every F1 event is historic due to his record setting. Statistically though, the sport is still competitive, and Maffei says that there's more overtaking than has ever occurred, especially in the midfield, and this means that Liberty Media still have a very attractive competitive product in Formula 1. An important part of this is looking at F1 as a total product, and not just through its TV viewership, and Maffei remains convinced that the demand for F1 is very high, as Max continues to perform at the highest level. The F1 drivers feel that there's a problem with the current generation of cars. The current regulations were introduced in 2022 and were designed to increase overtaking and bring the racing closer than ever before. But the drivers now feel that this aim has not been achieved and that overtaking is as difficult as before. While F1 had initially intended that the rules may remove the need for DRS altogether, speaking after Monza, Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez all agreed that DRS is still very much needed to help overtaking. Carlos said that they need a powerful DRS because the cars are getting difficult to follow like they were in 2021 or 2020. Sergio agreed with the Ferrari driver, saying that less DRS is not the way forward, and Max echoed these sentiments in saying that for most tracks they struggle to follow or pass. While we have seen races with lots of overtakes this year and wheel-to-wheel action, including the Dutch Grand Prix and the more recent Italian Grand Prix, the drivers clearly feel that there is a problem that won't be solved by the removal of DRS. You're all caught up with the latest in the F1 world. What do you make of these stories? Let us know in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Apex for the latest in the F1 world.